I think it's time to shave my head again. What is up, you heathens and demons, you sinners and saints, you beautiful, blasphemous bastards? Welcome back to The Raging Atheist. I am your boy, Nakasuchi, and today we're going to be looking at the author of Atheism Kills. Barak Lurie is his name. I had to go look at it. Barak Lurie wrote this book a couple years ago, and I still haven't decided if I'm going to purchase this book, read this book. You guys know I've got a lot of philosophy to read as I'm starting my philosophy studies, but I don't know, I might buy this book. But I don't even really have to buy the book because the author himself, he's pretty fucking bad. So, as I announced in one of my live streams, Chris Foster had sent me a 50-minute lecture type interview deal with the author of this book, and I'm going to break that down and I'm going to make a series of videos, and this is part one. Let's get right into it.
Atheism Kills. It's an absolutely, it's a terrific book. It's such a critical subject, but it's incredibly well researched, well thought out. The issue is looked at from a number of viewpoints that I've read a fair amount on this subject that are new to me. It's funny in places. It's very easy to read. It's sort of conversational and colloquial.
So this is a lady, introducing Barak Lurie and talking about this book. Now, this is a book demonizing a segment of the population. This is a book pointing at atheists and pointing at atheism, demonizing it, and essentially, I'm going to assume, smearing the facts to fit a narrative. And I'm going to assume that because I've watched this lecture with this author, and I can only go based upon what he's given me. Now, I think I'm going to end up having to buy this book and take some time to at least go through it and see what it has to say. But right now, I'm going to focus on the author and what the author has to say.
Why are we on this planet, right? I mean, it's the ultimate question, I suppose, but we should all be asking that. Is it for the purpose of getting a lot more money, a lot more toys, all the sex that you can want? Sorry, Sasha. Sorry, Max. All right. Is that what it's all about? Right? Are we just here to breathe and eat and mate and avoid problems? Is that it? We have to remember our mission.
Well, I mean, the first part of that is what humans have done since we've been here, right? Now, I subscribe to evolution. I think humans have been here for a really long time, a lot longer than 6,000 years. And I think that we've always tried to ask that because I think that human beings are just naturally inquisitive. We like to put causation on things. We like to understand things, and we want to understand how we got here. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if we ever will, especially in our lifetimes. Will we ever have a clear understanding of how or why we got here? But, in this process, thousands of years ago, somewhere along the line, somebody said, ha ha, God did it. Now, it's a claim. It's a claim that requires evidence, and for thousands of years, there hasn't been any.
That, dovetailing to your question now, really started making me think a little bit more as I was writing my thesis. My thesis at Stanford was a very narrow topic, mind you. I mean, very, very narrow. Does religion cause more deaths and evil than the absence of religion? Right? Narrow topic. Narrow. So I set out about to prove that because I had heard that mantra and I'm sure it was right. And then as I went along, I realized, doing a lot of research, that I was just wildly off. I was so wrong.
Well, I mean, it would be more interesting if you would show us how you were wrong about that. But here we have yet another Christian that claims at one point, he used to be an atheist a long time ago. And hey, I wrote this thesis. This is my proof. But honestly, anybody could write that thesis. You could be a Christian and write that same thesis. You could be an atheist and write that same thesis. Your thesis doesn't tell me that you were indeed an atheist. So I'm going to just take you at your word. I'm going to assume that at one point you was an atheist. You was an atheist in college. And that changed and you were converted. It's possible it's happened recently here within this community. So I'll just assume that you're not bullshitting, although I usually assume that pretty much every Christian that says that is.
And then in the meantime, I'd been dealing with a lot of Christian friends on campus. I was not one of these guys, these atheists that would mock Christians, but I just wanted to understand why they thought so foolishly. How can they think this way? But they were so engaging. They were always very polite. And they always said, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? I didn't like that, right? It just put little seeds in my head. And next thing I know, I'm beginning to think like them.
All right, so, this is when I start to call bullshit on your story about an atheist or just the reality of the world that we live in, because usually it's the other way around. Usually it's the atheist asking questions and the Christians not wanting to answer them, not wanting to even consider them. And, you're like, they're always so nice. That hasn't been my experience either. Most Christians that I've met here on YouTube have been complete assholes. Not all, most. Some of them have just been reprehensible human beings. So right from the beginning, we get this hate monger practically telling stories, trying to segregate two different groups into one good, one bad. And hey, I used to be a part of that bad group. Now I'm a part of the good group. So I know.
So the question of free will came up, and I started reading Dostoevsky, and I realized you can't have free will without God. It's just not possible. And if you don't believe in free will, then you believe in a world of determinism. Everyone know what determinism is? Okay, determinism means that you have no free will. Nothing is of your own volition. Everything you do this moment is a product of something nuanced from your past.
All right, so thankfully, he's not going to stay too long on this whole philosophy shit. He's just throwing it out there, telling you what you must be. Saying, you can't have free will without God. Which you pretty much, I think, have to have philosophy to get there. Because the definition of free will is the power of acting without the constraint of necessity or fate, the ability to act at one's own discretion. And it's also an adjective, especially of a donation, given readily, voluntary. But that noun, the power of acting without the constraint of necessity or fate, the ability to act at one's own discretion. You don't have to have a God to do that. I don't have a God. But yet, I show free will, right? By the definition of free will. I could choose not to talk about religion, but I choose to talk about religion. I use, by the definition, free will to do that. Doesn't require a God, don't have to put a God there. And I really love how Christians love to tell atheists what we are and how we think and why we think. Now, as you all know, I'm just getting into my philosophical studies. So, I'll be studying these things and figuring these things out for myself. I don't need you to tell me what I am or what I think. But this is just part one. We are just getting started with this dude. Part two will be coming soon. Keep an eye out for it. And as always, if you like the video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share me on your social media, comment in the comment section below. Hit that bell so you're notified every single time I have a new video or every single time we have a new live stream. And as always, I'll see you soon.